Good morning from an incredibly sunny Lalande. Well, our courtyard has taken another huge leap forward because Grant surprised me by edging all of the external borders with stones from our own garden. And Kirsty has planted blue and white flowers in them in support of Ukraine. And seeing the courtyard like this, it's made me feel incredibly nostalgic. And today I would like to dedicate this video to the before and after of the courtyard at Lalande. Let's condense all of those years into just a few minutes. When we first bought, the courtyard was tidy, but just completely bare. There was absolutely no fountain, and more importantly, there was no septic tank on the entire chateau. So we needed to find a space to put one, and it is over in that corner, which means that before we could do anything to make the courtyard more beautiful, we had to wreck it. We did finally manage to make the courtyard look a lot better, but it was still quite bare and a little bit gloomy, especially when it rained, when the facade, which needs redoing, gets quite greyish, and the ground was just grey at the time as well, so it wasn't the most cheerful courtyard. And my father had the ability to see things in that state and just to dream them completed, and he bought this fountain at auction in England to have as the centrepiece in the courtyard. Although he knew that we did not have the money to install the fountain, he got it anyway. And not only that, but when he was designing the tiles for the kitchen and drawing the whole chateau, he drew the chateau with the fountain in place. He believed that one day it would be done. Sadly, that day only came after his death. He died in 2009, and my mother and I decided that the best tribute we could do for my father would be to have the fountain installed. So work started. We found a wonderful local stonemason who painstakingly made the entire surround and then put it together. We were so delighted when the fountain went in, but we couldn't do anything else to the courtyard. And so for many years it stayed as it was, looking a little bit in need of greenery. And my father had always spoken about having greenery against the walls of the chateau and in the courtyard. So one day I decided that it would be lovely to plant a row of box hedges around it so that the greenery my father had always dreamed of would be here. Admittedly, maybe I didn't think big enough. And what I thought was honestly a magnificent row of box hedging, everyone else just laughed at. So I would like to show you the original box hedging is still there, and look how big it's got now. The inner edge of box is the original hedge that I planted, and look how much it's grown. It's so big and luxuriant now. But admittedly, it did need a little bit more. And one day I received an email from somebody who was watching the Chateau Diaries, a woman in Canada. She was a garden designer. She had designed a plan for the courtyard, something that wouldn't be too hard to maintain and that she felt would make the most of your existing box hedging. It wouldn't need to be removed. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. And 3 years ago, we were finally able to put her plan into action because I just launched the Chateau Diaries Patreon account. And because of the generosity of my patrons, we were able to employ Dan the gardener, the legendary Dan the gardener, whose arrival at the chateau set into motion many of the transformations that have happened since. We are finally going to redo the planting around the fountain.
It's looking a bit sad for itself.
Yeah, it's sort of wasteland chic.
It is, yeah.
How are you planning to do this? Because what I see is one man, 2 shovels. I just don't feel that this is high-tech enough for the scale.
Really underestimate my skill set.
Oh my goodness. Lucky you didn't try and do it with that spade.
Look at the mess. You've done a fine mess this time, Dan.
Good at making a mess, actually.
Look, but look on the side as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Things are really happening. It's got to get worse before it gets better.
Very true.
We'll definitely do that, yeah.
Oh, yes, get twice first. Eh?
Well, this is it. This is the moment that the very last bed around the fountain is being started. I just find his dexterity with this machine so impressive. Dan, you just cleaned that bit. You just cleaned that bit.
Sorry to muck up your work. Yeah, you look sorry.
Yeah, he says gleefully. The first bit of the new border of the Chateau de Lalande's courtyard. He's so delicate with that machine. He's about to start filling the first one. Woo! Yay! You can guarantee that the minute the shower cap goes on, something exciting is going to happen that needs filming. As soon as Dan had laid out the beds, we were able to bring in the gravel. And that was really exciting because the architect that we're working with, who is helping us to transform the facades at Lalande, told us exactly how to find the right colour for the gravel. Let me show you a little trick. Here's a part of the tower where the render is just flaking off. It's incredibly tempting to keep pulling it off, but we are not allowed to do that.
To keep pulling it up? Have you pulled some off already?
No, I've been really good. Just a tiny, just like little tiny. No, I'm not going to do it. But it was actually quite lucky because it meant that with the architect, we could look at the mortar. And that is how people working on historic buildings work out the colour of the render and the colour of gravel that would go with it. Because in that you see the soil from the region. Sometimes people brought stones in from other parts of France or Europe to build, but they rarely did that for the mortar. The mortar is what they could find in their local area. And you can see here that our mortar has a pinkish, peachy, orangey tinge to it. And that is what we were looking to put into the courtyard to really warm it up from those days when it was feeling very, very grey. And so we went to local quarries and managed to find this local stone that's just the same pinky, peachy tinge that you find in our mortar. And that way we know that we're using something absolutely authentic. It's from the local area and it brings in the colours of the local stones. Perfect. Superb outfit, may I say, Natty, for the raking today.
She's got her work clothes on. Just to level it off all the little lumps. Then I'll come and I'll roller it and it'll be nice and flat for tomorrow when all your gravel arrives.
I could do that, Matt. The person with the biggest muscles is running the machine.
Come on then, Mummy.
Oh my God. Watch out.
Gravel is here. Look at this. Where is it? What is it?
Where is it?
There is it.
Where is it? Where is it?
The truck is there.
Yes, okay, I see it. Oh, what a lovely day for us to be laying gravel. I'm coming down. This is a great day to be alive. What's going on?
I don't know, I heard something about wearing a robe. If you're going to dress me in thick chiffon, I'm going to do this right.
The sun's come out to bless the new courtyard. This is looking amazing.
Yeah, flattening out the last little lump over there. And...
Natty, what a transformation.
It is a tree.
Oh,
Dan.
Dan. Wow.
Looking good, isn't it?
It's looking so good. I can't actually believe what a transformation it's made.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, at this point, the courtyard was already looking incredible. but our amazing garden designer, Davy, who has made a master plan of all of the future gardens at Lalande. He is really extraordinary. He thought that we could think a little bigger, and he came up with the idea of the pleached lime trees around it. Now, this was a huge gamble, I will admit. When the telegraph pole started going up at 4-meter heights, all of us in the house were like, this really could be an epic disaster. And I just thought to myself, you know what? If we don't like the trees there, the worst that's going to happen is that we move them somewhere else. And I think that when someone has a vision, let's go for it. Because one thing we don't have in this courtyard is shade. And it'd be wonderful to be able to sit out in summer. It's just bakingly hot here. And so we thought we'd give it a go.
This is crazy.
The trees for the courtyard are arriving all the way from Belgium. And there's Davy going out to greet them. This is the first of the espaliered lime trees for the courtyard coming out. Yes, we're having difficulties with this one. These lovely espaliered trees. Of course, planting trees at Lalande requires a digger. That goes without saying, I think. How excited are you, Davy?
Very.
Do you like it, Dan?
Yeah, I do actually.
I can't wait till the spring when we start to see green.
Yeah.
Why isn't the digger doing this bit, Dan? Why are you actually digging?
On camera, that's all.
Oh, fair enough. No, I understand. I want it known that this is a ceremonial shovel load of soil. I will not be doing a second. I helped plant the trees in the courtyard. Oh, go on, I'll do a second. It's actually quite good fun.
I declare this garden open!
From the moment the leaves came out on the trees, we knew we'd done the right thing. And of course, the most recent step forward in the courtyard is Grant's transformation of the borders, which he's edged with stone from the property. So it feels as though it's always been there. I can't believe you did this as a surprise for me, Grant.
Yes, it looks $1 million, I think.
It does look $1 million.
Yes. We got all the rocks from behind the chapel. One dumper load started in the oldest part of the chateau, and I slowly went around and did it. Probably 2 ton of rocks, we thought, by thick guts, and then manhandled them again. They're mossy and old.
Yeah, they are.
Only had to chip a few. It was a bit of a jigsaw puzzle in spots.
I think this is my favourite bit, where it goes around the tower.
We never planned for that because the rocks were all the way up against there.
Yeah.
And I just stood back here and thought, nah, it's gotta keep flowing.
You're so right.
Yeah,
it looks
that
really
looks
good.
Perfect.
What a transformation. My mother is going to be delighted. Are all Australians like this?
No.
You're a very special one.
No, there's a few of us. But yeah, we're a dime a dozen, they say, like as rare as hen's teeth.
As you saw at the beginning of the video, Kirsty's made this wonderful planting scheme in support of Ukraine's blue and yellow flowers. This is only for this year because we can't put the final plants in place, which will be climbing up the building until we've changed the facades. So they'll be changed next year, hopefully. And Davy is creating a wonderful new planting scheme for that. And to get inspiration for Davy's new courtyard planting scheme, we went to the Chelsea Flower Show together and to Sissinghurst, the most glorious garden in England. So I will put a link to those videos here if any of you haven't seen them or would like to check them out. Thinking of all of the people who've been involved in transforming the courtyard from the way it was when we bought to the way it is now, just makes me realise that it's a symbol of Lalande. It's a symbol of everyone coming together, everybody's ideas, this complete melting pot, creating something extraordinary. After all of these years of work and incredible team effort, we have ended up with the courtyard like this so far, because obviously it's going to change a lot. The trees will get much bigger, and in about 12 years, Davy says, about 12 years, we'll be able to remove all of the supports around them. So they will be freestanding and we won't have these supports in the courtyard. We just have to live with this for a little longer. We will have the facade re-rendered, and then we will start growing creepers up the front of the building. And that is because Philip found this incredible postcard showing us what the Chateau de Lalande looked like at the turn of the 20th century, maybe late 19th century. and it is extraordinary. It was covered in ivy. Now, we won't be putting ivy back because that would damage the walls, but we will be planting plants that can go up the walls, possibly jasmine, so we have extraordinary scents here, and lots of other plants. But what pleases me the most is that looking at that postcard now, other than the fact that we could definitely do with some Versailles planters, those lovely square planters with trees in, other than that, I think this is the most beautiful the courtyard has ever looked here at Lalande. So I know we are going in the right direction, and it's only going to get much, much more beautiful in future. I hope you've enjoyed coming on this journey of the transformation of the courtyard at Lalande with us. And I want to say a huge thank you to the patrons of the Chateau Diaries. It is because of you that we're able to make these transformations. It's because of you that we've been able to get these huge trees to have instant impact, that we're able to employ the gardeners who make Lalande more and more beautiful every week. It is changing before my eyes. And those of you who aren't patrons are helping just by watching. You cannot imagine the difference that YouTube is making to this chateau. So if you'd like to help us carry on renovating Lalande, then please hit the like button, because it helps enormously with the YouTube algorithm and it helps more people to see our videos. And please subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week at Lalande.